because of the prejudice that existed against osteopathic physicians in the 40s and 30s, they weren't considered qualified doctors to be drafted in the military service. And so all of your MDs, all of the family doctors who were in existence were drafted and sent to the war.
The void which was created by the recruiting and the drafting of physicians was filled by osteopathic physicians.
So the DOs, because they were prejudiced against and couldn't get admitting privileges in any hospital because they were quote unquote unqualified, they built their own hospitals.
They thrived in the states where they were able to obtain complete practice privileges as dictated by the legislative acts that were passed in the various states. And in those states were the sites of the colleges of the original colleges of osteopathic medicine. And it was based on the presence of training hospitals for the completion of the training in general internships of our graduates, and then for the development of residency programs, because we didn't become accepted into hospitals until well into the 60s.
And during the Vietnam War, you must understand, they didn't have enough family practitioners to handle the front lines, and they really needed doctors. So Lyndon Johnson asked the Surgeon General, he got him in his office, he says, Surgeon General, he says, what's the problem here with getting doctors for Vietnam? And the Surgeon General looked at him, he says, sir, we just don't have enough doctors. And so Lyndon looked at him, and he looked him in the eye, and he said, what about the DOs? And the Surgeon General said, Mr. President, they are not qualified. And Lyndon looked him in the eye, and he says, what the hell you mean? He says, my family doctor in Texas is a DO, and he delivered Lady Bird.
In 1966, the Congress passed a legislative act which mandated the commissioning of osteopathic physicians as medical officers in the military services. And with that, the subsequent opening of military hospitals to graduates of osteopathic medicine who had, some of them were drafted because this was during the Vietnamese War, some volunteered, and the hospitals the military hospitals became sites for training. And then subsequently, as the schools started to expand in the 70s, in the 70s and 80s, our students and our graduates gradually gained access into medical institutions for training programs, and it was during that time that the states which had restrictive legislative laws which restricted the practice of osteopathic medicine just to manipulative techniques, they changed their laws. And it gradually became recognized, especially in the area of family medicine, where our graduates were well trained and made significant contributions to the delivery of quality primary care in rural areas, because our focus has always been on primary care. So that we have grown enormously.